Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to get the Metallica Master of Puppets guitar tone using nothing but free plugins. Recently I have been using a lot of plugins to get some really good tones, and if you don't know what a plugin is, it's basically something you can download offline that could be free or paid for, and you add it into your guitar track to change what it sounds like basically. So I could download basically any effect, any virtual amp, um anything really that can change the sound of my guitar, and it's really good because some of them are really impressive. And I have managed to make, I think, what's pretty good from Metallica Master of Puppets guitar tone just using free stuff that I've found online. All the stuff that I've used in this video will be in the description, so go down there. I'm gonna see if I can manage to save this tone preset so you can just download it straight instead of downloading all the actual individual plugins, because that's annoying. So I'm gonna see if I can do that. So either in the description will be just the preset which you can just download and use instantly, or there'll just be all the plugins which you'll be able to download. But in this video I'll be showing you how to exactly get the tones with all the plugins. All I've used to actually record it is my Behringer interface, which goes straight into the input 2 into my Ibanez Geo guitar, because that has some really good pickups, and they're perfect for the Master of Puppets tone. And that's basically it. Just run it straight into Reaper, which is what I used for the recording thing. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So what I've done is I've recorded my 4 individual guitar tracks already, and I've turned off the effects just so I can get a before and after. So this is just without any things, and I played the Orion riff. It's one of my favorites from Master of Puppets. So here it is. So there we go. That's just the straight interface, no effects at all. What I'm going to do is, as I'm playing it, I'm going to bring in the effects and just watch how, we'll listen to how quickly this starts to sound like Metallica. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is we've got 4 tracks. We've got the rhythm tracks all recorded. We've got 2 which are panned 100% and 2 which are panned 70. I think Metallica did something like that, and basically what I've done is these 2 are my main ones because these are the better ones, and then these are the backing ones. So if I just play these, well, if I just mute these 2, you can hear how it will still sound like the original, but then when you bring the other 2 in, it kind of compresses the sound or makes it more compressed, basically like the original track. And then if I quickly just play the original track, because I've got that up, I might as well show you the original for the guitars only. So this is the original guitar track from the album. And then here's my one. And I think they're pretty good. The original Metallica one, obviously they were using like Mesa Boogies and a bunch of pedals and also studio effects from the actual like studio recordings. They were using tape, so all this will change the sound. That is just physically impossible to get out of free plugins. But I think from what I've got, I mean that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plugins, and one of them's a noise gate. So from 4 plugins. And I think, yeah, this one uses 5, but that's an extra EQ. I think it's pretty alright. So we're going to go through. I'm going to start off with, so these ones. It's quite a weird tone setup because one of these has 1 EQ. The other 3 have 2 EQs. So I'm going to get into that. It's a weird setup. But first off, we're going to go through the more proper sounds. So these ones. Also, these can be modified if you think that you can do like better. So basically, what we've got here is we've got, I can't make that any bigger. We've got a noise gate. I need a noise gate just to make it sound as good as possible. It's on 40 dB, just so it really cuts out a lot of frequencies, basically, just to have it sound really crisp and really good. Then we've got the TSC 1.1. I I don't really necessarily see the use of this. This basically just adds a little bit more gain. We've got the Ignite amp, which is like one of the best free amp plugins you can get. We're not for these two. I think for these 2 tracks, we're not. Yeah, we're not using the power tubes, and I know that sounds weird for Metallica because they use tube amps. So not using tubes in the tube amp probably doesn't sound very smart. But trust me, I'll show you. If I turn on the tubes, I mean, it sounds quite similar. But when you take them out, it gives a much louder sound. So that's why I use them. Then, well, pretty much you can have a look at this, copy the settings. If you want to add the tubes onto it, it can make it sound sometimes better, but that's just without the 2 tracks, but then that makes it slightly less compressed. But I think for different songs, they use slightly different tones. So if you want, like, say, like a battery tone, you will have the tubes on because that gives it a more high gain sound, but with the tubes off it makes it a lot more bassy, which is perfect for like this song and like actual Master of Puppets. So depending on what song you're playing, just turn the tubes on or off and it really helps. We've got the IR, which is ridiculously important, and if you don't think it's important, you're weird, because I'm going to show you this. We're going to turn off the IR, right? And the IR is basically just a cab emulator. And if you turn these off, it will sound like this. So when you turn the Puppets IR on, I think both of them are using the actual Puppets one. Yeah, I think on the other 2 I'm using like the battery one or the Disposable Heroes one, I think. So if I turn these back on, it just makes the sound like the studio recording. And that's basically all IRs do. They just copy the sound of the cabinets that they used on the album, pretty much. And they are magic. IRs are magic. They are genuine guitar magic. Then we've got the EQs, which are very very hard EQs. So you've got one which is just this is the one at the end. So we've got this one which takes out pretty much everything in the middle. So we've got low range and high range is slightly cut out, but low range is basically the same. And then most of the mid frequency is taken out. We've got some in the middle which is raised a little bit, but still lower. And then these bits like in the middles, like I don't really know much about guitar EQ. I just know how the band works. So my logic won't be very smart. But yeah, so just copy these patterns. Obviously, the link will be in the description, so you don't really have to copy these. So yeah, we've got a second EQ, which is just a high pass and a low pass to cut out the low end and high end. And then with this on it, it will boost it, but have it still cut. So it gives it a really cool sound, basically. And that is, I think, the exact same for both of these. I think. Yeah, it is. So those 2 tracks, and then we go on to the other 2, which are they're a bit lower gain, and then I have them down about 11 decibels. No, I normally do about 9. So in the range of like 9-10 decibels below. And then these tracks are basically so compressed and so bassy, but with little gain, they will basically take the other two tracks and just like really compress them. So on one of these, I think this one is the exact same as the other two. Um, yeah, no, this one uses power tubes on the 6L6 one. Same cab and the same EQ. And this one also uses the power tubes, but I think it has a slightly different. Uh, no, they're about the same. So the only difference with this one, this right track compared to the left track is they one of them just uses an extra EQ pretty much. So this one just uses this one. It doesn't cut out the low and high end, so that really basses it pretty much. It gives it so much like bass. So we've got the exact same. It's the exact same cab. Exact same thing. We've got a gate which is just lower decibels. So instead of 40, it's 64. I think there's some extra release in there, and then pretty much it really. So if I take these two out, hear how more bassy and like low range it is. If I just bring these two in, it really compresses it. So for a song like Battery or Disposable Heroes, you want to have these two out or just make them less low range. This sounds more like the battery tone, and then you add these back in, and this sounds more like an Orion tone. You know. But that's just my thing of what the Metallica tone sounds like. It's not the same, but I have slightly EQ'd it to make it sound more the way that I would have done it. So it's not fully their tone. It's more of me trying to make it, but adding some improvements. Because it is my favorite Metallica tone, but I still think it could use some like lower, like higher gain frequencies. But yeah, that's pretty much it. There's the Metallica Master of Puppets tone. If you do like the tone, comment down below telling me you like the tone. And download it in the description. I've figured out how to save a preset, so hopefully it will be in the description. If not, like I said, it will just be the plugins, and you're gonna have to follow along with this video. If you guys want to see any of my other tones, because I have some good ones for like Ride the Lightning and Justice Rule. So pretty much all the first 5 albums, I have pretty good Reaper tones. Like every single day, I improve these, and this is by far so far my best one. I'm gonna do a video on my Ride the Lightning tone because I really like that one, and with that, I'm gonna end the video. So goodbye.